100.5 KATT. I am Cameron Buchholtz here with Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. What's happening, man?
It's first sold out Oklahoma City show I think we've ever played.
It only took you guys co-headlining with two other bands.
I feel like Oklahoma City has not ever been like the hottest hotspot for us in the country, but the shows are always awesome. Like when we play up at Diamond Ballroom and whatnot, but I honestly do not think I've seen a sold out show here.
Yeah, it's going to be great. This line around the Criterion here is in a way that I have not seen it probably ever. So it's pretty amazing. But this is a weird, rare triple co-headline thing, which is it must be pretty crazy.
It's for sure been a process to like get it to be what it is. But it's like one of those things where it's like, well, duh, like why isn't this a thing?
Right.
I feel like a lot of bands don't approach situations like this as much, at least not anymore, because of the logistical somewhat nightmare that it is. In a good way. It's just so much to figure out, and I don't know, it's just for us it was like, well, yeah, why wouldn't we try to do this? And then the other bands were like, well, yeah, why wouldn't we? So when you take an idea that separately sounds too much and then run it by each band, they're all just, yeah. You're just like, why was it too much? I don't know. It's just a weird kind of hurdle, I guess, that a lot of agents and managements and stuff like that don't want to tackle. But for us, I think everybody realized what can happen by doing this, and it's been such a rad tour because of it.
I mean, I'd imagine that there's some promoters and stuff out there that maybe were worried about too much overlap or whatever, like if it's, but I think you guys have a different enough audience, but that does have some overlap, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's like a positive one. Like I feel like you said it already, each band has their own built-in like core, and we're noticing that each day where like we'll ask like how many people are seeing us for the first time, or how many are just hearing of us today, and there is a considerable amount for each band that's like that, and that's another piece of the magic of the tours. Maybe they only like two of the bands and aren't sure about one of them, and then they go and they see the show and they're like, oh wow, now I have another band to add to my long list of bands I love. So it's such a rad tour for that reason.
And it must be interesting for you guys rotating through the different dates of going on early or going on late.
It's cool because I personally like playing either earlier or like kind of in the middle, just because I feel like you're going to play to the most amount of people.
Uh-huh.
Like if you play the headlining spot, you get we're headlining, which doesn't mean anything to me. Like
right.
It's a triple headliner tour. Who gives a shit if you're playing last? I just like playing to people that are like wanting to see a show, and I feel like when you play last, sometimes people are either burnt or they're just playing out the rest of their night until they have to leave because they have work or school or whatever. So it doesn't really bother me where we are. Tonight we play in the midweek. I think we play second to last. So
yeah,
it's gonna be sick.
It's gonna be good. But I know you guys just released the new single Cyberhex,
yes.
Coming from the record Scoring Into the World, which is out in June. And the song is rad, man. It's very different for you guys, I think. Like it definitely sounds like Motionless in White, but it's different.
We feel that way as well. Like we were trying to decide what was the first song, and it was interesting that everybody in the band all felt the same way. Like normally when you're working with labels, they want to put out the song that's like the big radio song or the easier digestible track, whatever, and we've just never really wanted to do that. And even though in moments where we've been unfortunately kind of forced to do that, this time I feel like we're in a spot in our career where we're just like, no, we're gonna go ahead and do what we want, and we've had a good track record of doing what we want versus what other people are influence us to want to do, and this song is definitely on pace to I don't know, really help the album and like the whole rollout out of it. So it feels really cool.
Well, I think it makes sense to release kind of a heavier one or a different one first, and then maybe the radio one comes second.
Yeah,
like it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the plan. We the next track we put out will definitely be the more like Another Life Voices type track, where if you really can, I mean, I can understand why a label would want that, because when you look at our just go to Spotify, I mean, Another Life and Voices, Another Life has double the amount of plays as the next highest song, which is Voices, which then the next highest song, which is like Brand New Numbers. So like, very obviously, people can say that they want the heavy tracks, and we're going to deliver that. But the songs like Another Life are really like, at this point, I guess you would say our bread and butter, because it's like, that's what people want. So for us, it's like, let's start it off really hot, really heavy, and then we'll switch over to the more like, here's the sing-along track that just hits you hard, and just a little take a little break from the heavy. Nice. Then we'll circulate back.
Right.
That's what we do.
And now this record's got some guest appearances, right? Like Caleb from Beartooth is on it, and there's a few others. Kind of tell me about that.
Caleb sings on a song that it's funny because the song we did with him, Ricky wrote the guitar part for that part as a chorus to the song, and I was like, no way, this sounds like a bridge kind of breakdown-ish type of section, and I would never have put the part in the song if it weren't for me being like, the only person who could ever sing on this is Caleb, like when we were making the song. And I felt confident building the song around that part because I thought, we have a pretty good friendship with Caleb, so he might do it, and he ended up doing it, and it sounds so cool. And so it's like if Beartooth and Motionless made a song together, and I really love that because we toured with them and it was fantastic, and fans really enjoyed that. So we have him. We have our friend Brian Garris from Knock Loose on the heaviest track on the song. We have this dude Mick Gordon, who does a lot of sound, like video game soundtracks, which is really awesome for us to work with somebody that influences our music by what they do for other types of outlets of music. So it's just a really cool collection of people that help expand the songs beyond what we can do ourselves.
Gotcha. And now with this being kind of the third record on Roadrunner now, you kind of talked about what the label might want, versus what the band might want. But I would imagine at this point they probably trust you a lot more. Like I imagine they're just...
You can tell that on this record because we went in pretty hot. We were just like, yo, like, hey, like, I mean, I have no problem saying it. We are not releasing Loud again, like that's not happening. I liked Brand New Numb, and I thought that was cool, and I'm glad we released that with Disguise. We're actually playing Brand New Numb tonight for the first time on the tour because we actually miss playing. It's a fun one. So them wanting that, us wanting Disguise was a cool compromise. This time, it was just like, we're going to go ahead and do Cyberhex, then we're going to go do this one because we know this is what you want. We also want this, but this is the compromise. And they were like, yep, awesome, great. And it's because we have built a relationship with our fans where we listen so much to what they want that we have made choices independently aside from the label that have worked out very well for our band by listening to the fans that the label didn't really have a part in. And that's really cool that we've built that trust with the fans rather than just us saying, this is what we want, and making wrong decisions. Not that we've never made mistakes, but it's really cool to kind of have that in a band where you can listen to a group of people say, this is what we like the most. Then we say, well, we also like this. Here's what we're going to do.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense, man. Well, I always appreciate the time. It's always good to talk to you. And now that the world is maybe, hopefully getting back to normal, we can just get back to our normal 9-month rotation or whatever it tends to be.
Yeah, it's cool that we're kind of... I feel like we rarely do tours with like... I guess when I think back to it, it's kind of been half and half where we tour off of a new song right before an album comes out. I really, really can't wait to see if this tour happens again after the record, because I feel like that's going to be the most exciting. We're playing we play a bunch of new songs to a bunch of new fans. It's just,
is that's something that's being talked about as another leg of this same lineup?
I think so. I mean, again, logistical nightmare for good reasons, but it's a lot. Each band has so many other things that they could be. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a conversation, and we are all chips down on it. So I think it's just a matter of if it can, then it will.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, again, appreciate
You
the
heard
time.
it here.
And just stoked for the show, man. So thanks a lot.
Great.